you're lying, but I would have no reason to lie. So either I'm a liability or...
What does the bureaucracy do to liabilities, Larcy?
Oh, yes. Well, currently I'm not trying to imagine what the bureaucracy would do to me, but rather what a term the size of Warwick could do to me. And I think I need to stop that train of thought or I'll faint.
Fancy says, perhaps everything is being blown out of proportion. Perhaps I and Kind Graham and Gil-Galad and Dimezz and Anrakyn, we're all wrong. And what happened back there was a horrible misunderstanding. And no one's going to come looking for you. No one's interested at all in your fate or that you survive that exchange. And you can slide back into your job and help continue to assemble the wonderful puzzle picture.
He smiles at that. Yes, maybe Warwick was just seeing double and thought that he was carrying me and the representative this entire time.
Maybe he just forgot. He was so concerned about going to handle some other affair that he couldn't tell you last minute that he could not carry you with him.
Yes.
Just
right.
Just a string of misunderstandings.
Or at the least something to be thought about and figured out another day. Perhaps in a hot bath.
Fancy looks to the left of the road, to the right of the road. I think you have some time before the hot bath.
I'm afraid so. It does take the group a couple days to reach Freedom's Hold even. 5-6 days. But as I've said before, you're not accosted during your travels. No giant thing appearing out of the skies, no bandits, no anything. And eventually you do reach the Freedom's Hold that you've, when traveling with Jax, only seen from a distance. Some of your characters even might be familiar with it. But it is a rather interesting sight from a distance. It's not as big as any of the big cities, but it has a sort of imposing atmosphere to it from a distance, as it is entirely surrounded by a thick palisade, even a log palisade with sharpened tips, which could look disorganized if done hastily, but these are basically a work of art. So every second one of them is kind of upright, every other one is diagonal, creating a sort of almost a optical illusion from a distance that looks interesting, to say the least. And perhaps rather practical too, if anyone were ever to charge at a palisade with horses or something. Doesn't look entirely just for art, at least. The city itself, first of all, copy your tokens here. The city itself has a similar charm to that of the Free City. The buildings are placed not exactly in patterns or anything, but they are sort of in an intertwining sort of... Oh, words. The streets seem deliberate, yet not forced. The intersections make sense, but no two intersections are the same. No two buildings are even the same. Most of them are tall, 2-story wooden buildings. Each seems to have been designed by a different person. Some of them have only rather recently gotten their second story. Others look like two different buildings stacked on top of each other. And the general atmosphere in the city, for those who have visited Minett, is vastly different. The people there are happy, outgoing, laughing a lot. There's quite a few walking through the city. Not the snobs that you would see in the Free City, but rather farmers and such. People who seem like they have seen work, people who seem like they enjoy their work. I have made another map visible, which is the Freedom Soul map.
Okay.
We did it. We got to Freedom's Hold. Checkpoint reached.
Campaign over.
Reach your destinations. I hope you can see a bunch of buttons,
Yep.
which I think it might be a nice way to present the different points of interest that might be in the city. There is, among other places, of course, the central marketplace, which is essentially a big square. It's, well, compared to Coppergate and the Free City, the market really is rather tiny. But despite it being tiny, it has one very significant advantage. It's the fact that Freedom Soul is basically smack dab in the middle of the civilized territory. And it is also surrounded by lots and lots and lots of small villages. And of course, those villages produce things, those villages need things, and all of them essentially come to Freedom Soul. And that very much shows in the kinds of things you could buy in this market. There's all manner of things from clothing to livestock to healing herbs and aphrodizing brews and iron farming tools to also slightly more exotic things like gems and gold and iron ore that was most likely filtered out from the streams or something, and different smaller like art shops even showing like what's it called if you cut wood into a form.
Carpentry.
I don't even know. I don't
like
even know.
whittling wood?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know the German word, but you get what I'm saying. There's of course also blacksmiths and carpenters and shoemakers and everything a normal person could really meet or need even, plus a little bit more. Other notable situations, I don't want to ramble about them too long because that's why I made the buttons available so you can quickly see what they are. Freedom Soul has an embassy, a building that very much stands out from the interesting design of some of the houses. A square orange brick building with a sort of reddish clay roof. Something very akin to the design of Grand Castle and very obviously intended to be exactly that. There's also a rather large complex of schools and academies kind of attached together through pathways and almost tunnels in building form, essentially, which is the Freedom Academy. This would be the place to go if you ever want to be a professional leader of a mercenary group, or if you just want to be really good at fighting and also have plenty of money to spare, or if you maybe have learned wizardry in one of the schools or one of the academies rather in the Free City and want to know how to actually use it. This would be the place where you go. Philosophy and books, not quite the place for that. It's the practical academy in a sense. Of course, there's also a big district devoted to anything a traveler might need. Places to sleep, places to rest, but it's mostly focused on actually being fun. There's drinks, other kinds of entertainment, plenty of gambling halls as well. Not quite as shady as the ones in Lonebridge, but they are still gambling halls, of course. It doesn't seem to be entirely aimed at the travelers passing through Freedom Soul, but rather at the kind of farmers around it. But it still might be something for even a normal traveler. Something else that is available here, which is in fact available in all of the major cities. There's a Cloud Dragon Post. What is the Cloud Dragon Post? The Cloud Dragon Post is the place where you can hire a Cloud Dragon to deliver a message to wherever, really. If you wanted to, say, send a message to Respite, you could either go there yourself, spending multiple months and dozens to hundreds of gold pieces worth in equipment and guards and whatnot, or you could pay a fraction of that amount to a Cloud Dragon who would get to Respite in perhaps from Freedom Soul, couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. Supposedly, they don't even need to sleep when they're flying. Supposedly, they don't even eat when they're flying. Supposedly, they could live their entire lives never touching the ground. which is something that is incredibly extraordinary for Danone, because usually they can fly, but are not very enduring flyers. Even the big ones, it's rather unusual that someone can fly for longer amounts of time. It is something that is thoroughly trained. Cloud dragons, however, are not usually big enough to carry any cargo or people even. They are among the smallest of the Danone, despite their significant physical prowess. Did I forget anything? I don't think I did. Other than that, you have, of course, the usual things that most towns have. You have buildings where people live in. You have streets and alleys. These are just things that might be unusual or special. Also, on the topic of horses, Freedom Sold would probably be the best place to buy a horse if you ever wanted one. The different farms in the plains here, most of them have livestock, others are horse breeders. And Freedom Sold is usually where they come to sell them.
Nice. All right. So we want to ask for someone who can help cure a terrible disease, right?
Is that for Anrakyn?
Basically, that's the setup. We'll say that he's sick, and we need that. We've heard that there's merchants selling like elixirs that can cure anything.
Mhm.
And
We're
we're
gonna
looking
lie
for
to
that.
people?
It's not a lie.
No, we are stretching the
entirely
truth
true.
a bit. Yeah.
It's literally who we're looking for. I don't know how else to explain it to them.
I can certainly look very sickly.
We can say we want to look for a horrible necromancer, but
You don't need any help in that department, Jonas.
I know, that's what I mean. I can look very sickly.
you see him when he tries. Ugh,
Yeah, when it really goes for it. Oh,
like zombie form.
hello. I could use some help.
Oh God. I think at least that's what Graham would want to do here, to find this guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, to find this guy, yeah. Then again, we have this bureaucrat with us, who is probably gonna be very dead very soon.
No, it's...
Oh,
I filed that under the... Grimith, the player, files that under the not my problem or sucks to be you, bro umbrella.
I mean, we'll deliver him to the Grand Council embassy, surely, with the body. And I'm sure they have some sort of form he can fill out.
Yes, respectfully wrapped so
Yes.
as not to alarm like guards, and then whenever we deposit him at the embassy, we basically say, "Alright, it's up to you."
Here's a body.
Yeah,
Here's your
there is a little
stuff.
problem with that.
All
Someone in the group might threaten him with, "If you try to fuck us over, we're coming for you." And then, ta-da!
Ta-ta!
That's right.
Yeah, but Gil-Galad has an issue with, knowing that someone is about to die and doing nothing about it.
Well,
He's not about to die,
How
though.
do you, that's just baseless speculation. That's not even me being
It's
playful
not
there.
baseless at all.
I really think it is. It's building a giant conspiracy, and that he's next. I think he's just panicked.
Right.
And besides, if he is in the embassy, he's going to be pretty safe.
Well, you say
unless,
that.
unless the state itself wants him dead, and then
Again,
nothing
you're
can
Well, then
stop
he's
it. really.
fucked
Yeah,
anyway,
then he's
right?
stuff anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure if there is anything.
If the
I can
state
actually
wants
do.
him dead, there's nothing you can do anyway, because
No.
you can't fight authority. Authority
The
always
real
wins.
problem is this necromancer selling zombie potions to people
That's-
desperately looking for help.
That's something we can
Right.
fix.
Yeah.
And and if at some point in the future Farsi comes running towards you screaming, "You were right! You were right!" Then you can address that then.
Engaging smug mode.
Let's see.
But even if you wanted to, take the the blanket approach of his guardian and protector, how would you? Do you have the resources to monitor him 24/7 to ensure that the government doesn't fuck him over? Talsiber?
I don't know, Sip, do I? Is there perhaps any table of, the elfin origin that I could, point him into laying undercover for a while in there?
Maybe. Do you have a relationship dial with the Elf King?
Well, actually, I do.
Could work something out, perhaps, if you want to give him protection. Maybe there's a embassy of the Elf King as well. Maybe there's even some military personnel who might not be opposed to doing Gil-Galad a favor.
You're sending him to the Scoia'tael, man. It's not gonna end well.
It's a witness protection program of the Elf King.
Now, you don't want him to just completely vanish either, because then no one's around to say what the hell happened there at Wilder Court.
Yeah, you can take him in as a witness for your case in your protection, perhaps.
Exactly. That's what
make him too big of a profile for his death to just be ignorable. Protect him by simply like, he's very important, and people are gonna keep an eye on him. So
that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that could work.
To arrange that.
You can sit there making statements for half a year. Being an elven bureaucracy. We'll just send this form 3 weeks back to respite, then we'll wait 2 weeks of waiting period, and then we'll receive it back.
He wanted to go on an adventure, and he talked about the fun and glory of bureaucracy, so...
that's all fine.
We're gonna need another signature. That'll be another 2 months for that to be sent and arrive. Including delays. We'll need that in 2 copies, actually.
Triplicate.
Yeah.
Oh, the person
then
who
send it to
about
Grand
this will have to be
Castle
sad.
for a statement there, and then...
And there's no copy machine, so when you fill out these 300 formulas, you have to do it again.
The problem is elves live for hundreds of years, so they're not really as efficient with bureaucracy as humans are, and that says a lot. They're like, oh yes, but he has a 10-year sabbatical right now, so I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do right now.
Decade? Like
He's,
we
have a waiting room. There'll be refreshments every 6 hours.
He's meditating for 200 years. We'll check back like...
Yes, just
all right. So to put us back on the soggy path here.
Ugh.
There we are in Freedom's Hold, a wonderful place full of farmers and horse merchants.
I can certainly go around, cough a lot, and say that I am looking for a cure for what ails me. And that nothing I have tried so far works. I'm a physician. I can certainly talk the talk when it comes to different cures.
You'll probably end up spending like 87 gold pieces worth of like snake oil. You're like, yeah, I got this thing to fix you up.
The thing is, I recognize what I'm looking for. So.
But what if they know you are? What if they see you and know that you're not a mark?
You are after the death mist. Yes. So I do believe
the healing death mist.
It's very rare. Did I say
Fellow
death mist?
necromancer,
I
you would
meant
also
rainbow
appreciate.
mist. Yes.
Graham has basically found information about this guy before. He'll go to the same kind of people, do the same kind of thing, except, he'll if they can give him information, he might pay them a little bit, He doesn't have a relationship die right now, so he can pay himself out of it.
So
Find some shady
you would
people
essentially like to go to the market and see what's up there.
Yes.
Yeah. Or the guy might be there.
You'd mind.
Gil-Galad is gonna go contact his elf friends and be like, hey, hook a brother up here.
We'll
Exactly.
We'll meet at the Cat and the Cucumber Tavern. It's a pretty good place.
Okay.
Fancy hasn't been in Freedom's Hold for, gosh, she can't even remember how long. So she's gonna go visit all of her old haunts and not look into any information pertaining to what other people are doing, because she sort of doesn't really get it. But she's gonna go sing and drink and enjoy herself.
I think we should go to the Dancing Pork Roast. That sounds like a good place.
Yeah, I do prefer the Cat and the Cucumber.
All right, everyone going to the market. Among other things, each of you roll me a d20.
Among other things.
You get
Right.
stabbed.
19, no.
How about 19? 19 good enough for you, G?
That's right.
Well, okay.
Stop stealing my roll.
So,
But it was such a good roll.
I wanted one, but I lost it.
I
One
stole
my
that
roll.
roll. I stole that roll, and
Well-
you stole my heart, Jake.
First of
Yeah.
all, as it turns out, going to the Freedom Soul market and asking for cures for diseases and whatnot will get you many, many, many different sellers offering many, many, many different cures for just a smidgen of gold.
Oh, I know what
which
I'm
really
looking
is
for.
quite a lot.
If they're not fitting the description of who I'm looking for, I'll just say that it's for the Edeling, and if like see if they can actually make him alive. If they don't
dead
think
for
they're
so
up for
long.
that, that's okay.
Some do offer to try, but of course payment in
Okay,
advance.
if it works, I'll pay it.
Payment in advance,
Yes.
that's very important.
in advance. Yeah.
Well,
It's probably
They don't
not
seem
a
to look like
good
the kind of
idea.
man I'm looking for. I'm actually more looking for information to find this guy,
Mm.
more so than asking for people like him.
Well, as
I do have a bit of a specific description, after all.
yeah,
And
you
what
do.
he was doing and how he was peddling his wares and what he was saying and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, let's handle Anrakyn here first. He's not really incredibly successful. However, there are a couple merchants who are rather talkative, despite Anrakyn not showing really any interest in the cure after he's seen it, essentially.
Hello? Uh-oh. Hello?
Their cure might even help the architect with his addiction. Hello? What?
Hello? I blanked out. I heard architect and addiction, but nothing else.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let me try again. A few of the sellers of wondrous curing potions and such do tell Anrakyn that their cure would even help the architect with his addiction.
Oh. Well, can he... Like, what does the cure look like when they show the bottle or whatever?
The cures of the different merchants that tell you that thing, very different. Some are basically a tea, others are just sludge, but none of them look like what Anrakyn is looking for.
Yeah, he will... He will keep looking, keep saying that he has tried everything and nothing has worked, and that he is the end of his rope. He's desperate. If only there was something. And then he'll like keep doing it like that.
Let's see. Dimezz essentially gets the same kind of information about the architect's supposed addiction, whatever that might be, although from different. What exactly is Dimezz doing on the market?
He's just kind of prowling around, listening in on conversations.
Yeah.
the
Graham
most
would
part.
have probably told Dimezz to, if he is looking for for that guy specifically, act like a innocent child looking for. Like if you can act like a child and look like
A
a
child with
yeah,
the face of a grown man.
Well, he's sure that you can do something about that.
Yeah.
Because the guy very much likes selling this stuff to children. So you're
Yeah.
desperate and young and poor and innocent, then
Get
Yeah.
your little pip voice.
that's
Oh,
what he's
well,
into.
I'm too tired to do a pip voice here, man.
Oh, sir, do you have a potion? I need a potion. Man.
My father is ever so sick.
If you can't work the field, family will starve, my lord, please.
Please, please.
I just need a little bit of potion.
And
And if there's
all
anyone
the
who can
money I
pass
earned
as a
selling my
child,
shoes.
it'll be the racial stereotype of the halfling who can
Of
pass
course.
off as the kid.
Yeah,
Of course.
sure, I can.
How does
Especially if there's only one ship full of halflings in this continent.
Mhm.
Well, not only. I mean, those are the only ones I know. I haven't, sought that many out. I'm sure there's more.
and what's Gil-Galad's approach to investigation?
Gil-Galad is kind of absent-minded, I suppose, right now on this investigation, as there is another matter kind of troubling him. But since, the rest of them seem to be so dead on to actually start immediately with the investigation, he will also, go ahead and ask around and, see if there is anybody who could be in the market for rare potions that seemingly cure pretty much anything. Especially if that someone would be less willing to, advertise it as much and, prefer to deal with very specific people, maybe. Less of a merchant, more like, I guess, a dealer of some sort, basically.
Okay, I think a ask the honest merchants for shady dealers skill check would be appropriate here, as that might not be entirely legal information to give. But some might be willing to talk regardless if Gil-Galad happens to be rather persuasive or just nice.
Let's see. Can he be? I wonder. Suppose that's charisma. Well, to be honest with you, none of my backgrounds would apply to them.
Alright, straight up charisma then. Charisma plus level.
Can't see anything like this. Okay, let's try. 14.
No. Turns out shady people aren't as easy to find in Freedomshold as they might have been in Myton and Lonebridge. All the merchants that Gil-Galad approaches and basically asks, hey, I need something that money can't usually buy, they get very tight-lipped. It does seem like some of them might know something, but...
Please, sir, move on. I don't want any trouble. Please, just...
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good information as well, so there's that.
You should probably have had your level to that skill check, right?
When it's not a background involved, do we still have the level?
Yes, always.
Okay.
16 still wouldn't have enough. See, what's Fancy doing? Prowling the taverns?
She's not prowling. Has a pejorative, like, it has a poor connotation attached to it. Like, already you've said that she's picking through garbage and that she's a woman who works the night hours.
I'm speaking a foreign language. I don't know what connotation is.
It's okay. She's to associate though. No, she's not asking around for this. Like as soon as we got here, after all the excitement that happened in the clearing, she sort of forgot why it was that we were coming here. And so they all went to like the marketplace to like ask around, and Fancy's like, well, they know best. And so she's hitting up places that she's relaxed at before in the past. Like taverns or bars, and, see old faces, folks who have gone to like the family circus before in years past, back when she owned it or her family owned it.
Well,
she's just relaxing.
She will undoubtedly hear many stories there.
No,
without looking for it, it's not really something that Fancy just stumbles upon, that kind of information.
That's fine. She's not. Yes, Manaki, we are all prowlers.
Yes, I search for plunder constantly.
Oh, pray.
Plunder. Arr.
All right.
With more than just a couple potentially frustrating hours spent on the marketplace, the day here does come to an end.
Well, to the tavern.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Like, was there a place I was supposed to meet up with them?
Oh boy.
She will find like a note in her pocket that Anrakyn put there.
Like, maybe she like took it from him and then forgot about the fact that it was there. Like, what's this? Oh, Anrakyn. Oh, his handwriting is so lovely. Meet at the... Where was it that you said as a joke name?
The cat and the cucumber.
Oh, a cat and
Rat
the
and the
cucumber.
ferret.
And she looks up at her tavern name, and it's like the Hermit and Basilisk. And she's like, oh, wrong tavern. And she like leaves.
All taverns in this city is called like the something and the something.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
And
probably
over
what
half
it's
of them have either cat or cucumber.
Yeah. The cucumber.
Don't let there be multiple cat and cucumbers. She went to the wrong.
The cucumber and
never-
cat. Like,
Oh no! The real
Forget
cat and
this.
cucumber.
I'm going to hang out with the Green Mercenary.
Uh,
All right. So, Fancy gets there last.
How did you? Okay.
The cat and the cucumber. Undoubtedly a similarly quiet tavern as most of the other taverns are. There isn't really much action going on currently, as it seems that most of the taverns don't really have too much business in the evening hours. At least not on the current day, at least.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the next busy day? Sheep.
Let me look at the calendar for that. The next busy day would likely be in 3 days.
so is there like a schedule for the busy days, like a fairly established one? Because then we could maybe, if we can somehow figure out or guess when the files we know of were sold, maybe we can sort of pinpoint if he, like when he's active.
The busy days are easily determined by just asking around a bit and treating them sold. Turns out the busiest day, at least for the taverns and other entertainment districts, is usually the day after the Earth Day of the week. Essentially, the start of the new week is the busiest day because all the farmers, or many of the farmers, take a day off to enjoy themselves. Some weeks are more busier than others, but generally it's that day where all the farmers come to town and enjoy themselves.
Okay.
The other days, those that do come to Freedom Soul to sell their things usually leave before the evening so they can make it back home, essentially. Before night sets in. It is also still one of the colder months, which means that also the sun sets a bit earlier.
Well, apparently we do have a few days for the busy days. So I believe I have the time to arrange my little arrangement.
Sure.
well, we don't really have anywhere to go from here.
Let's see, once that's done. We don't. Well, if he's selling potions around here, you know, there are probably going to be undeads caused by the potions, right? So maybe we want to
Yes,
look for
most
undeads.
people I heard who had purchased them, as however, people who would take them to some remote area that is further away from here. I suppose we will continue asking.
Where would you be asking?
So what are we asking about?
A merchant has been selling these potions that make you turn into a monster.
Right. And you're looking for them. Right.
Yes.
Oh, I can ask around. I mean, I can ask people. I'm not gonna pretend to be an aide, but I mean, certainly rumors of all that kind are floating about.
Yes.
It's possible.
Anrakyn, perhaps you would talk to some of the people at the academy.
Nod slowly.
Maybe some of them have something.
I could, if the phenomenon is known. There might be someone there who could. Yeah, I might be aware of it.
Oh.
It's worth a try.
I'll continue with the marketplace, since that is where I have the most experience in talking to. There's lots of traders who go far and wide.
Good luck. And then he prowls out, searching for plunder.
Day after day, night after night, relentlessly.
Yes, I do not sleep, I
No
do not
sleep.
rest.
No, yeah.
I am relentless, marching like death.
All out.
Kick down the doors to the academy. Fools!
It's like a battle wizard academy. I would not. Into the class of evocation.
Oh, that'd be great, though. I want to go to Battle Wizard College.
And as for Fancy, now that she's reacclimated herself to Freedom's hold, she can spend her time engaging in gossip, and like chatter, because she wants to hear about news of events and what's going on, and she's been hearing many things, and this would be a great opportunity to tell me about what's happening in the world. And B, she'll also like lead in conversation, like injecting, like, have you heard that there's like this miracle vial thing that can like restore like perfect vitality and cure people of like that oil addiction up in Meyerton, and then gossip about the horrible news in Meyerton, and then gossip about like Wilder's getting more aggressive, and gossip about seeing like this giant gray Tananim who could fly across the sky, and then gossip about this fancy Minett who's supposedly living in the Free City.
She's great,
Okay.
isn't she?
Give me a d20, Grimith.
Sure. Fancy loves talking to people.
Fancy does hear plenty of things. Among the rumors she might hear is the fact that the inhabitants of Crimson Peak seem to be incredibly excited. Mostly those that went there not because they wanted to live there, but rather because they liked the lifestyle of conflict and showing who's the best. And they have found something that they can enjoy somewhere in the Red Rift Canyons. And for the people in Crimson Peak to enjoy something, that involves a lot of violence.
Oh my, that's terrible that so many people are going there for just brutality against themselves and animals and probably children too. Scandalous gossip.
Graham is continuing with the marketplace. Anrakyn
Dimezz
at the...
is... Oh, okay.
Yeah? What's Dimezz
No, I
doing?
was going to say Dimezz is going to keep doing the child act.
Okay.
Almost sounds like a law, Jake. It's a child act.
Yeah.
Child act.
Yeah, I will push forth and pass it into law.
No
Any man
Dimezz
who
left
prefers
behind.
to be treated as a child shall have that right.
Adult babies.
27 years ago.
This man was born, but he is yet not grown.
I say to my fellow
Shall not that
Freeholdians.
time
And-
determine a man's age?
I say now, my fellow Americans, etc.
Well, Anrakyn asking around at the academy will find out that turns out that some of the magically adept people there have done things that involved undead, among other things the creation of undead, mostly to study and fight them to see what works best against them. And they've made some odd observations in their practices. They've basically made an undead each day and fought it and then destroyed it and made another the next day and such. But despite their attempts, some of those undeads during a particular time period turned out a bit stronger than really they should have been.
Okay.
As if bolstered by some power. The wizards, however, weren't quite able to pinpoint what exactly caused that, but they can give you the time frame of Basically, exactly a month ago. In the week that was a month ago. So 6 weeks ago. That's where it ended, at least. Started probably somewhere around 7 weeks ago, although they can't exactly tell because they haven't started monitoring it right away.
Stronger. As in faster, more healthy, more difficult to destroy. In what way stronger?
Yes.
Okay. Well, did they summon other entities than what they thought, or was it the same entity just fueled by something?
It was the same entity, although there was more to it. I can't really exactly tell Anrakyn what, because that would have taken more than half a week's worth of study.
Well, any notes they have, or like any information they want to share, he will definitely make note of. Were we even traveling that far back? Probably not, right? Those were like before we even traveled towards.
That was, in fact, before you started, yes.
Huh. What month was it 6 weeks ago?
That was the month of Kar, the month of ice. The end of it, but still. Wasn't too cold here in Freedom Salt.
Okay. Have they heard anything about some sort of miracle, mystical cure that is sold to the most strangest and unpredictable of people, that cannot be bought for money, but can only be granted by the generous merchant, who seems to take pity on those who need it most?
Well, they have certainly heard of wonder cures, and plenty, for the past 10, 20 or so years that they have lived there. But
well, he will show them the bottle, anything like this.
well, it does get their attention. They don't know of any merchant who sold that particular kind of thing.
Okay.
Most of the people selling their cures don't present how the cure looks. They just say that they have one, and if someone buys it, they give it to them. So it's not something that you can see in a market stall usually.
The key thing about him is that he didn't really, like, let's see, my contact said that he spoke to, to like his buyers, that he ended up selling it to like their royalty. He also does not take money for it, only from those he decides are very important. Those two things should distinguish him somewhat. Maybe there's like a really angry guy who didn't get to have whatever it is. You can tell something. He just needs something to go on, some lead on where to follow him.
I guess he wouldn't try to dupe magic users though, because the risk of him being like
right. Anyone who might who looks like they know a lot, like someone like say like physician type, like someone who's good at reading people might say like he looks like he knows what the fuck he's talking about, you know? I don't.
Let's see here. To quote my contact, says, saw him sell one of his things to a young boy with barely a coin to his name, just because he mentioned he was from some town in the mountains. Some in Freedom Soul, but he's probably gone at this point. Fella came to him, your friend treating him like a king, calling him your excellency, and whatnot, and prepared to leave right after. So he has some person who came to him, whom he treated like a king. He sold to a child who didn't really have much money, because the child said he came from a remote mountain town. He's allegedly wearing like a...
So all we need is the name of a remote mountain town for Dimezz to present himself to come from.
And then make him look extra haggard.
He also said that the merchant was old, and he has a coat that is supposed to look old and worn, but isn't actually old and worn. It's a very fine coat, but it's supposed to sort of make... It's purposely made to look crappy.
Okay. Well, unless there is a ragged wizard that fits that description, I guess that's it for Anrakyn in the academy. Although he doesn't enjoy the libraries, and he will spend the rest of the day there probably reading up on things.
The Freedom Soul Academy doesn't have too big of a library. It does have one. It's not used a lot. It has mostly applied books on applied things, like how to swing a sword.
Yes?
That's right, or like, practical, like, majory. Actually, like, books or philosophy, you're in the wrong town.
We don't take kindly to no, he applied spell slinging then.
Yeah, the academy has certainly
Combat medics. Stuff
plenty
like
of those things.
how to saw off a leg in the middle of a combat. Yeah, it's very interesting. Dimezz, come over here for a second.
How to combine the swash and the buckle.
Without getting your gonads caught. Oh. You should read this, Dimezz. Wait, you've written this.
See,
Not an author.
Crime was still... I keep using prowling because I like the word, but it fits in this case. Information plunder.
I'm looking for prey.
So, which kind of people are you looking for exactly?
Me?
Well,
No, Manaki.
the kind of people who might know me somewhat, or whatever I just spent. So instead, the kind of merchants who might, be in this sort of in the business of knowing things and seeing who comes and goes, basically.
Business of knowing things.
In the marketplace, they're usually people who
He's
keep an
looking for the
eye
me of this town.
on this and that.
Maybe there also might be like some children guides in Freedom's Hold, like someone innocent
Yeah,
enough who
like-
might know the description of who Manaki is looking or Graham's looking.
Yeah, if they're like urchins or something, like those people, those kinds of people, just people who might know something.
Yeah, the majority of the marketplace is basically wagons and carts and tables that are easy to set up. The merchants there change a lot. They might not be the best people to ask, but there are certainly some children around. Whether they are orphans or not is not immediately visible. There's also the blacksmiths and the clothing shops and the carpenters around that are very much permanent. And let's see, in one of those, or rather, one of the blacksmiths does seem to have attracted a small horde of those children just running around having fun. The blacksmith himself doesn't seem to mind. In fact, he's sitting outside with them, giving them like old bread or whatever, or bread in general, while he is taking a break, or at least not currently working. And he does seem to look like he at least recognizes Graham, kind of sort of giving him a wave of, hey, I think I know you, I will greet you just to make sure. And that seems to be enough of a sign for the children to actually approach Graham and talk to him, as it were. Some of them being scared of the Elderling, others actively poking at it.
Oh, it'll just do nothing. Except getting his like grave grime on them. But that's fine.
He's actually quite happy. He loves the laughter of children.
So ask if they've seen this man. If they know something.
Well, after giving the description and such, some of them do get that kind of look of, well, maybe, but what's in it for me?
Food.
Does Graham carry food?
No, he'll buy food for them. If he's satisfied, he'll treat them all to a great meal.
Right, they are more than happy with that. As one of them will say that, yeah, there's plenty of those wondrous potions and whatnot, and he did actually buy one of those once was Aunt who was terribly sick, but the cure did nothing and she died a couple of days later, but that was years ago. Kind of rambles on. But recently there was one who seemed different, you know, those healing people, they keep trying to sell you their stuff and keep telling you that it actually works, but that guy only told you that it works, and he didn't really try to sell it to people. He told you that it works, and then he asked you, or the people, a couple of questions, and then he got all serious, and then he said, like, something that made the person go away. That person left just a week ago.
Where did he leave to, do you know? What road did he take?
The child shakes its head, but he does tell you that, while he doesn't know where the merchant went, he did see that he went into the Cloud Dragon post, was there for a couple of minutes, and exited very angrily. Shortly after that, he left.
Oh, I suppose that is more than we had before, so... Well, how much gold would it cost me to give them a grand meal?
A grand meal. Let's say like 5 silver pieces per child, but there's like a dozen.
Oh,
So that
like
6 gold.
I'll use 10.
Sure.
They can have wine as well. Get some kids drunk. Wonderful.
You just give wine to children.
In my day, they only had wine.
Okay.
Ale.
Just saying.
I didn't get damaged by it.
You're kind of dead.
Sort of.
It's got you there.
Not the better for it.
Okay.
Well. And then I suppose he'll go to the Cloud Dragon post and ask about the incident he heard about. Because that's kind of the only other lead he has.
The Cloud Dragon post itself is a rather small building, mostly only indicated by a sign over the door. And entering, or trying to enter that building, Graham does see that there's a bunch of children just hanging out at the entrance, occasionally peeking inside and then running back out. Occasionally a human male voice from inside shouting something on the lines of "Get out, please."
Oh.
Not at Graham, but rather at the children. And as Graham enters, he sees a rather modestly furnitured room, a sort of secretary desk in the left corner of the room, and most of the rest of the small to medium-sized room, the floor of it is covered in feathers. Feathers presumably belonging to the wings of a cloud dragon who is currently lying on his back, wings spread all over the place, looking utterly bored as a tongue is kind of hanging out of its mouth. Unlike most of them, it doesn't have scales. It in fact has feathers. I'll show you a token just because.
Postal dragons.
Yes.
There's a nice question mark, but
Oh, look at him.
there we go.
Might love a moment.
All right,
He looks
feather
cool.
dragon.
I really like him.
The turnip is currently for size, it's most likely smaller than Graham. Most likely slightly bigger than Dimezz would be if he were to know.
Can I pet
But
it?
wings, enormous wings. Disproportionately large. The Tenor looks up from its awkward position on the floor for a moment, and then lies back down as the person on the desk looks up, stopping the writing of some document or another to look at Graham. Graham essentially saying, "Yes."
Yes, I'm here to inquire about an incident about last week. If it could be called that.
I am not aware of any incidents.
I'm looking for someone. I have found out that he was last seen in here, receiving some message and being very, very angry about it. Does that describe the man? Sort of older-looking man with a coat that looks like it's supposed to look kind of worn, but isn't really that worn, you know. Seller of potions and such.
He does not, as the description, saying he did not come here to receive a message. We have not had any messages in a while now. And I'm really not quite allowed to tell you why I had to refuse service to him. It would be rather bad conduct if I...
It is a rather precarious case. I have reason to believe that he is in some illicit activity, and I would rather not have to implicate anyone here. If you would help me potentially save some people, then please.
Let's see. Give me a convince the secretary skill check.
All right.
Or convince the secretary of your good intentions as Adeling stands next to you.
Hi.
Make it... no, don't make it secret. Make it public.
Public, yes.
The secretary frowns at Graham and says again, I can't give you any information about clients, potential or actual. That would be very bad news for our service here. We are known for reliability and discreetness.
Can you tell me where he went to go to then? So I can at least find him.
As far as I'm aware, he went out the door, and then I lost track of him as I was sitting at this very desk.
Answered the dragon.
The dragon has started to show some interest in the conversation, kind of looking at you, looking at the old man, the secretary.
Mm-hmm. You'll look at the elegances. You see this? Just a sword. These beings are naturally hostile, but I have tamed it. I can control it. That is because I am a hunter of those things that are dead yet still live, that hunt through the night to hurt all. They eat innocence, if you would. This man, I believe, is spreading a contagion that spreads such things. You heard of what happened in Mayaton, didn't you? I have reason to believe that he's implicated in this, and if you would stop me from pursuing that goal, well, perhaps you would be implicated as well. Unwittingly, maybe, but should that be an excuse?
Give me another charisma-based skill check with a +2 bonus as you're trying to intimidate the secretary.
Now you see here, that's not how we do business here in the Cloud Dragon Post.
He does pause a bit, does say, well, I can't still tell you much of importance, but I can tell you that I did refuse service to him because he was asking us to transport cargo, which we do not do here. A small vial of salts that was supposed to go to a place that I cannot disclose to you.
And that vial contained If I could produce a vial that looked exactly like it, would you believe me then? The vial that was involved in what happened in Mayaton.
I would then believe you that you have a vial that is identical to the one I was presented, but he kind of grits his teeth. I really can't tell you anything, or I would be in major trouble. The Tenor at this point, still lying on the floor, bored out of its mind apparently, does perk up and says, "I will tell you where you wanted to have me bring it if you burn down this office."
Graham looks at it and says, "I don't have a problem with any of that."
Starts making fire.
The secretary throws his pen at the Tenor, frowning. "Please don't listen to him. He's young and bored."
He offers me a price that I'm willing to pay. Maybe you can make it cheaper. If you'll tell me without me burning down this place, then perhaps that's the way to go.
He frowns, grits his teeth again, stands up from his chair, essentially, slowly walking over to the mess of feathers lying on the floor, picking through it, trying to find his pen, and succeeding eventually, as he
Just
will
show
then...
me on the map. Just show me on the map.
He will then move back to his chair, starting to scribble on one of the papers, while keeping eye contact with Graham. He says, "I can't tell you where I refused to have this cargo delivered to." Continues writing, stops, slides the paper over to Graham. "I would ask you to please leave."
What's on the paper?
He turned the paper over so the writing is on the other side.
I'll say I'm very disappointed in this. I shall take the paper and leave. Go outside.
On the paper, it does say the following.
Green ham.
It doesn't say it with double E, it says Granham.
They read Dr. Seuss here, Manaki.
Tavern, I suppose.
Nope. I don't know this name.
We stormed the Green Ham Tavern.
He'll go and find somewhere that has like a map with towns on it, so he can find out where the hell that is.
Well, turns out the academy does have a map. Turns out that Granham is a town to the east. Sort of east-southeast from Freedom's Hole. South of Lonebridge, in the mountains. Not far up, but high up enough that it is a rather isolated place. And not too far from the usual caravan route to Crimson Peak.
Well, I suppose we have a location. He looks at the office and is like, oh, slight shame. Didn't have to burn it down, but alas. We'll go and
Get the dogs ready.
We'll go and fetch Anrakyn. Since he might be easier to find than the others.
Well, if he's at the academy and you're looking for maps of the academy, you're in line.
Yeah. Dimezz is probably being in an alleyway, children who are like, "What do you think you're doing? You're taking our jobs."
And then he stabs them.
Gil-Galad is doing something with elves.
Frolicking with the elves. Yeah.
I mean, he likes elves, but you can also have too much elf sometimes.
He frolics in the meadows.
Something with elves.
Playing the harp and singing, drinking wine.
It'll take a few years, you know how it is. I heard a most lovely poem, 200 verses.
And Fancy is undoubtedly in circles where Graham would not really be welcome. All things considered, they might be kind to him, but they would not speak openly, and he'd rather not crash the party. In the evening, though, when we meet up again to share what we found, he will share what he has found. Say that he believes the man was angry because now he has to travel all the way there to deliver his deadly poison.
Why would he be interested in delivering it to a small mountain village?
It seems to be his MO.
Sure. It seems, however, that he wants to spread it in places where it will be overlooked most of the time. Perhaps this could be done in order to try to test the effect of it in some fashion.
But if he couldn't deliver it there, why would he care specifically about leaving here to go there himself?
I don't know. We know that before this happened, he was met by a man whom he bowed and scraped to, who demanded something of him. Then he began to leave.